So as I was preparing for this talk last night, I kept asking myself, what does it mean to be a Singaporean? I thought of food like chicken rice, shows like Phua Chu Kang, Singlish, and fruits like durian. But then I think I found the answer. And it's in this quote I'd like to read now. If it's dark when you leave your house for work, and it's dark by the time you get back, you're probably a Singaporean. This post by Wake Up Singapore was liked by over 1,500 people and shared almost 6,000 times. Workers in Singapore work the longest hours in the world. It is therefore no surprise we also get the least sleep. 70% of workers in Singapore are unhappy at work. Whether you're a citizen or a migrant worker, the large majority of us who work on this land in Singapore are bound by our culture to work hard. Hustle culture. Having grown up on the idea of meritocracy, we expect that hard work means bigger rewards. If that's the case, then why do some of the hardest workers in the world feel that the rising cost of living, such a basic necessity, is still a big concern? It's a really frightening phrase, isn't it? The cost of living, the cost to live, the dollars and cents required to stay alive. If, as a country, we are getting richer every day, then why does the ordinary man on the street still need to scrimp and scrape a living each day? Why does an 80-year-old Amma need to hunch her back to carry cardboards on Chinese New Year Eve? Now, according to a DBS study recently, 40% of Singaporeans' incomes are not keeping up with inflation. According to a survey by Today Online, the cost of living ranks as the top concern for youth's mental health. 10% of people in Singapore are food insecure each year. And our low-wage migrant brothers and sisters will suffer greatly without subsidized healthcare and a bulk of the support measures that the government provides as relief. There are 1 million of them here. They build and keep our city running, but they don't get any relief. Inflation is likely to continue to remain high in Singapore with the war in Ukraine and ongoing food crisis due to climate change. As a country that relies a lot on imports, we are bound to be affected by such events abroad. But to what extent are we all affected by the rising cost of living? For Kak Malina, Shabir, myself, and I think a majority of us all in the room, we are concerned of whether we have enough for ourselves next month, and if not, our children and parents. We worry about possibly losing our jobs, our rice bowls. Do we have enough to pay our rent, our mortgage, the electric bills, the phone bill? Some of you may have larger paychecks working a tech job, but you're worried after seeing the news that you may suddenly lose access to your email accounts and find out you've been laid off. The period between jobs is going to be absolutely traumatizing. Or you may be a gig worker. You've woken up today and found out that the incentives or earnings on the app are down, and you have no way to challenge this. Instead, you have to write an extra 2 hours to make what you ordinarily make. And we are taught that this is okay. You may also be a teacher or a doctor, and your higher-ups have decided to give you a raise, but only if you work harder than you did before, when you were already on 3 cups of coffee a day and 4 hours of sleep. One way or another, regardless of which profession or job you're in, you're worried about the rising cost of living. The cost is not just financial, it's also physical and mental. You pay for that extra dollars and cents with your body and mind. And who benefits from all your hard work? Now, do you think big corporate CEOs, billionaires, our mayors, and highly paid ministers are affected by the rising cost of living the same way that you are? Do they worry about not being able to pay their mortgage this month? Or that their electric supply might be cut? Do they worry about being able to put food on the table the next day? Or do they worry about earning enough so that their parents can finally rest and retire? The rising cost of living is a worry for the wealthy CEOs and billionaires if it means they can accumulate less wealth. If the products they import have become more expensive, and if they keep the price of their goods and services the same, they will make less profit than before. And so they are likely to cut costs somewhere else. You guessed it, to the worker, and if not the customer, in the name of higher prices. Or both. They either delay your pay hike or make you work even harder for it. In the end, they benefit at your expense, whether you pay for it in dollars or health. And what about our government, our ruling elite? Now, during the pandemic, the government actually made the right call to invest in the people by providing a kind of unemployment insurance, cash relief, and other forms of support for different groups of people affected by the disruption. This was largely unprecedented. Although more could have been done, the move was a step in the right direction. But then in 2022, the government announced that it will have to go ahead with a GST hike to financially recover from the money spent during the pandemic. Its justification that healthcare, education, and security expenses have all gone up. In essence, the government says it needs to claw back more money from the people in order to help the people. All during one of our worst cost of living crises in a long time. All while there are zero wealth taxes and corporations get away with generous tax exemptions despite profiting billions. They tell us that this is for our own good. But what do you think? And when they aren't worried, they look for opportunities to use it as a way to expand their wealth even more. How many of our hawker heroes have closed shop because a private landlord has bought over the hawker center and jacked up the rents? If the price of your favorite wonton mee has gone up, don't blame the hawker uncle or auntie who's trying to keep things affordable. But look at the landlord who wants to shake leg and profit from his hard work. This town hall is for the hustlers and workers of Singapore. No matter what uniform you wear or paycheck you earn, whether you're a doctor, a cleaner, or a homemaker, we all have more in common with each other than we do with our bosses and the ruling elite. This town hall is about how we can protect our need from their greed. How much more can we allow them to squeeze us? When do we draw the line in the sand and say enough is enough? Do we wait till the GST is 20%? Whether you're Chinese, Malay, Indian, Eurasian, Filipino, or Bangladeshi, if you've broken a sweat to earn your dollar, or you're in the business of stretching that dollar as much as you can, welcome to this town hall. Let us talk about the kind of Singapore we want to live in and how we can get there together. Thank you very much.